and welcome back to A Better You. I am your host, Fernanda Ramirez, and welcome back to the Lifestyle, Wellness, Self-Development, Self-Care, and all of the above podcast. I'm so happy that you clicked on this episode, and if you're new to this podcast, welcome. If you are a returning listener or viewer, then welcome back. I missed you. It has been a long time no talk type of situation, and I've missed you guys very, 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 very much. I apologize for my absence, but I hope that you guys have been having the best summer or winter if it is Australia where you live, and you've just been doing well, feeling well, making sure that you are maintaining the best version of yourself. And if not, then maybe you clicked on this episode for the right reasons, to recenter, to rebrand, and to just gather yourself together. In today's episode, we are going over the guide to the perfect mid-year reset. We're going to talk about rebranding ourselves and becoming the ideal version of ourselves that we want to step into. I don't know about you guys, but every single new year, I make an elaborate plan for how my year is going to turn out. I go crazy with the vision boards. I go crazy with the life binders. I make all the goals that I want, and it's easy to fall kind of behind on the goals that you've created for yourself. It happens to me. I know it happens to you guys. Things come up, especially in the middle of summer when you're so focused on maybe having a good time, or maybe the weather is a little bit distracting, plans are distracting, there's weddings happening, there's parties happening, birthdays happening. I don't know. There's just so much happening in the summer, and it's easy to kind of, actually, I was going to say it's easy to get drifted away into what's happening around you. But then again, I was going to say it might not be the worst thing to be present. So that's actually, now that I say it out loud, that is my current dilemma. It is enjoying being in the present, but also not forgetting about the plans that I have for the future. I know for myself, I have a lot of goals and a lot of ambitions, and I will be disappointed in myself if I don't finish or accomplish all the things that I want to by a certain time. And for me, that is 2024. I created a bunch of goals at the beginning of the year to actually accomplish them and to put myself in a position that I want to be in, and, ultimately be the version of myself that's in my mind every day when I think about the person that I want to become. I do want to say though, if you have been feeling sluggish, if you have been feeling a little bit run down or burnt out, don't be too hard on yourself. It happens to the best of us, and I try to say it as much as I can in a bunch of different episodes, but I feel like it's really hard to be on our A game 100% of the year. Unless you have that perfect discipline to work through all your different phases, through all your different chapters, and to really, stick to your goal every single day through and through till the end of the year, I feel like a lot of us may drift and get distracted along the way. And I do think that's normal. And I do think that at this time of year, it's also a great time to reflect on what you have accomplished over the past 6 months and really give yourself some credit for how far you've come. It is so easy to look past the accomplishments that you have had. And even if you are thinking back to the 6 months and you're thinking, well, I don't have any big accomplishments, or I didn't travel anywhere, or I didn't have a big promotion, or I didn't get the best grades, or whatever it may be. If you didn't do the things that seem like the flashiest, or maybe something that you won an award for, and instead you actually had some emotional downfalls, you might have actually grown in a bunch of different ways that are more internal, and maybe you overcame certain bad habits, or maybe thoughts that you had in your mind, or maybe you experienced new things and it's actually made you look at things from a different perspective, or maybe you've changed your mind on something, or you've kind of just learned from an experience, or I don't know, maybe you had an emotional breakthrough. I feel like those types of things can be overlooked when you're just looking for the accomplishments, but those things in themselves can cause so much growth. And even if you've had just a significant change in your life, I think those are things that are worth paying attention to and giving yourself a pat on the back too, because those things are not easy. And I know I speak for myself when I think about the past 6 months that just happened. There's been so many things that I've done that were kind of bucket list items, traveling, maybe little milestones that I had, but also just changing things up in my life and mental health wise. And even though those aren't necessarily awards, you don't get an award for going through those things, I do feel like when you come out on the other side and you did see that things will pass, it does get better, and those tough times don't last, I feel like there is some pride to be had there, and just feelings of accomplishment knowing that you got through those tough times. And even though that wasn't necessarily something you had planned at the beginning of the year, that a lot of things that can come up are not what you expected, and being able to roll with the punches, being able to be adaptable and to be flexible, I think there is value in that, and there are so many lessons that you learn along the way. So I hope that made sense. I hope that that wasn't kind of like cryptic. I feel like I was explaining kind of my situation, but seeing if it would apply to you as well. But I guess what I'm trying to say is, regardless of what you've accomplished, there's been so much growth in the past 6 months, and it shouldn't go unnoticed, even if you've had a tough 6 months and you feel like it's not as flashy as someone else. I will also say that when you do look online, there are so many people, especially in the summer. I feel like everyone's traveling, everyone's accomplishing things, everyone's taking photos, but everyone is posting the highlights of their life, and it is their highlight reel. So don't get kind of warped into the idea that everyone's days are perfect. I know for myself, even there was times where I was crying the night before, and then the next day I posted a photo maybe from the past week where I felt pretty, and in my head I maybe posted that thinking like, oh, I'm just gonna like ignore what's going on in my life, and I almost wanna kind of distract myself from it and post the good, even though someone else may see that good and think, wow, there's nothing going on in that person's life, everything is so perfect, everything is so great, when in reality there's more to the story. But I will say, I don't think there's anything wrong with that if you're the person, because sometimes you kind of just want to look past tough times. But I will say that is also why following relatable creators that kind of talk about their struggles openly can be helpful to you. But the main message there is to say that just because you're seeing everyone's highlight reels, that does not take away from what's going on in your life, and you shouldn't feel the need to compare because people are posting their best, most filtered, most picture perfect moments. Just to give you a little bit of an update on my life and the past 6 months, I feel like I'm in a really good position right now. I am so excited for the next 6 months to come because I really do feel like I'm doing a rebrand. I feel like the past 2 months, even though I haven't been that present on socials, I feel like in my head I've compartmentalized the time periods as like me in my old home 2 months ago, this transition phase of moving and hiring people to expand my team and to be more equipped for the months to come. And then once this is all settled, I feel like it's going to be the time in my new apartment and after this big transition. I do remember, and this is kind of like just a side piece, but I just kind of want to bring it up. When I was in LA and I was spending a month there in April, I went to a psychic and she told me that the next phase when I come home was going to be a huge time of healing for me. And I think she was 100% right. I also got the tattoo 555, which symbolizes change, when I was in LA. And low-key, I was so nervous when I got that because I was like, is this giving Moldavite? Is this giving I just invited and literally imprinted into my skin that change is going to come? I was very nervous. But putting those two together, like the psychic and the tattoo, those were not wrong. I do feel like I'm in a big healing, transitional, changing phase. And even though I was kind of a little bit mad at it, I feel like I'm not mad at it now just because I'm so excited for the next 6 months. But I'm definitely in need of reflecting on the past few months, how everything happened, what I learned from it, and then how I'm going to move forward. So this is definitely something that I'm going to work on behind the scenes. I'm going to tell you guys how I'm going to do that. And then I hope you guys do the same, so you're prepared for the next 6 months to come. Right now is the middle of summer, and although I love summer, I love having a good time, I love spending time outside with my friends in the sun, I am also very eager for the fall to come and to kind of lock back in mentally. There's just something about September that feels like a new year to me, and I feel like knowing that we're almost stepping into August, it's kind of prepping us for like the new year. And if you are in school or you are in college, I guess we're all going back to school at this kind of time. So I think it's the perfect time to do a little reset, a little rebrand, and yeah, I'm so excited. So first off, when we talk about a mid-year reset, I looked up online and it says that a personal mid-year check-in is an opportunity to revisit and reassess your goals. Whether you set these goals at the start of the year or on a quarterly basis, this check-in allows you to evaluate your progress and plan for the remaining half or the last 2 quarters of the year. If you guys have a journal, this is the perfect time to pull that out, or even just to use the notes app on your computer or on your phone, your diary, whatever that may be, and writing out some prompts for yourself to process what happened in the past 6 months. I'm sure there's a lot of prompts that you can even come up with, like what was my favorite thing that happened in the past 6 months? What was the hardest thing? What did I like the most? What did I learn from the most? But you can also go on Pinterest and search up mid-year reflection questions, and there are so many that come up. Side note, but I am actually going on a flight tonight because I'm going to New York for a premiere, and I think I'm going to bring my journal with me when I'm on the plane to kind of do these questions myself. But I wanted to list you off some questions for you to reflect on and to ask yourself if you choose to do these. I'll go through them kind of slow if you want to repeat after me or write them down, and then you can do them yourself. The first one is to reflect on and celebrate your wins. It is so important to acknowledge the things that you have done correctly, the wins that you've had, even if they seem minuscule. Like I said at the beginning of this episode, even something like going through a tough time is a win. So don't underestimate those or brush them under the rug. Let me go on with the next few questions. What are some challenges you faced? What things would you like to keep doing? This could be good habits, maybe friendships that you've made, maybe routines that you've implemented. What are things that you want to change? This could be kind of like your outs. So something that isn't working with you, or maybe friends that are in your life that are not aligning with you, or maybe it's even narratives that you've been telling yourself that are not feeding you any good or doing you any justice. Maybe that's letting go of insecurities or letting go of bad habits. What was your expectations for this year, and how has it changed compared to January? What are you still holding on from last year that you haven't been able to release? What steps can you take to release it, and how will this change in the next 6 months? What is your current outlook for the next 6 months, and why do you feel this way? List 3 things you've learned about yourself in the first half of the year. Describe any unexpected opportunities or blessings that you've experienced in the past 6 months. Are your actions aligned with your values and intentions? And describe the new connections you've made since January. Now, those are some questions that I really want to answer for myself, and I feel like will definitely kind of put me in a good place moving forward. But again, there are so many questions online, and you can even ask like ChatGPT. Like, there are literally so many resources for inspiration if you want kind of mid-year reflection questions. But those are the ones I'm going to be doing. The other thing that I'm going to be doing, which I feel like kind of go hand in hand with the reflection questions, but is just going back to the goals and the life binder that I made at the beginning of the year. Also, side note, if you haven't seen my how to make a life binder video on YouTube, I highly recommend you watching it. Even though it is not the new year, I feel like you can really watch that video whenever, and I did spend a lot of time on that video and a lot of people really enjoyed it. So I would highly recommend watching it. But basically, I made this binder where I kind of split up my life into different categories, such as mentality, physical self, spiritual self, emotional self, etc., etc. But I basically split this binder up in different sections of my life, and I created goals for each one for the year. And then I added some inspiration photos as well, just to give me a little bit of a boost. Yeah, just kind of put me in the right mindset. But I really enjoyed making that, and I have it on my bedside table. So I really like it. I think it's so aesthetic. I think it is so crafty. And if you are a crafty person, then I feel like it's kind of the perfect little DIY or craft that you can make. And making it for the next 6 months would be a very great idea. I honestly feel like even for myself, I kind of need to go back and look at it and see if there are things that don't align with me anymore, or see where my priorities shifted, because I think it's really important and a really good skill to be able to look back and think, okay, even though these were my goals, even though these were my priorities, if things changed, that is okay, and I accept myself for changing it, and that's fine. You know, sometimes priorities change and it's not the end of the world. If anything, it actually is more restricting to hold on to beliefs and priorities that no longer serve you. So definitely go back on your goals that you made for the year, revise them, see if they still align with you. If not, make some changes to them and put them somewhere where you can see them. If you want to make a physical vision board, I honestly think that that's the best one because you have it there to look at every single day. But if it's not that, definitely do it on your phone and make it a wallpaper so that you kind of have it in your head what the focus is for the next 6 months. And also there are a lot of other different things that you can do to kind of give yourself some inspiration. For me, that's making maybe a new playlist for the next 6 months, maybe finding podcasts for the next 6 months that I really want to lock into and listen. Maybe that's books for the next 6 months. Maybe that is creators that you want to watch, etc. I was telling my boyfriend yesterday that even though I obviously am, there's no way I could be where I am without discipline. I do feel like I am someone that is more driven by inspiration and motivation. And for me, a technique that kind of works is like re-inspiring myself very often so that yes, it is discipline, but also it's the inspiration that is propelling me forward. A technique that works for me is listening to those podcasts, reading those books daily so that every day I'm inspired to do what I'm doing. And I feel like that drives me more than kind of living this mundane, disciplined life that is not exciting for me. I need to feel some sort of emotion when I'm tackling all these tasks and going after my goals. So if maybe that technique works for you, I highly recommend just kind of shifting your mindset to that and thinking, how can I inspire myself? I don't know about you guys, but there are those times, you know, where you're up in the middle of the night, you scroll through some video and all of a sudden you're like, I need to get my life together. I need to go work out. I need to change my mindset. I need to be rich. Like, you just stumble across some video that is so inspiring to you and it just makes you want to turn your life around. If you know exactly what I'm talking about and you know what makes you feel that way, go to those creators, go to those books, go watch those videos or documentaries or listen to that music, and do it more often so that you feel those inspired feelings all the time rather than whenever you kind of stumble across it, which could be once every 2 months. Or to give you guys some inspiration, I'm going to talk about some of my favorite people that put me in that inspired state. For one, I love the girl Tam Kaur. I think that's how you say it, Tam Kaur. She is super cute, super motivating, and honestly, props to her because she delivers her message very concisely and like professionally, and she just kills it every time. Same with Wizard Liz. I feel like both of those people make me want to get up and get my shit together, literally. Also for, I guess, like more spirituality or kind of feeling more in tune with yourself and just like your feminine energy, I love Hitomi Mochizuki, which I talk about her all the time, but her videos on YouTube, I actually just love watching them. They inspire me so much creatively, and just as like a human being, I want to be her. I love her morals and her values and everything she stands for. I also love listening to Jay Shetty, the Huberman Lab. I love listening to podcasts of like girl entrepreneurs and like girl bosses. They really get me motivated, as well as watching just like YouTube videos that are informational. Maybe that's even a documentary, just anything that kind of sparks food for thought, that kind of makes me want to implement whatever they're talking about and do that in my daily life. I've mentioned this so many times, but I have been reading The Creative Act for the past like month and a half, and I've loved it. I feel like I've been reading 2 chapters a day, and every day those chapters have been motivating and inspiring me, which like makes me motivated for the rest of the day, if that makes sense. I also want to say, if being disciplined, locking in, that really works for you, you should 100% look into doing the 75 hard challenge. I know at the beginning of the year, I shouldn't have even said it because then people were like, hello, Fernanda, are you going to do it? But I said in a podcast episode that I wanted to do the 75 hard, and I was actually very committed to it. I was like, let's do it at the beginning of the year. I'm going to vlog it all. It's going to be great. In theory, that was a great idea. And I would actually love to do that for a YouTube series just because that is so helpful for my personal life and also so inspiring to other people and also is such great content. But, you know, things came up and it didn't end up happening. Although I feel like I kind of did it in my real life, like for a month and a half, definitely not 75 days. But anyways, I was debating doing it now because I have a lot of projects coming out in September, October time. And I'm like, Fernanda, if you want to do the things you want to do and actually accomplish them and actually be that person by that time, you need to lock in now. And it's actually like 75 days from now. So I'm considering it. I'm considering actually trying it, but kind of changing the rules and making it fit a little bit more my lifestyle and what I prioritize. So I actually had a little bit of motivation inspiration yesterday, and I stuck up 75 sticky notes in my office and numbered them all, so I feel like I would have a visual representation of the 75 days and I could feel that motivation by like pulling off each sticky note day by day. So yeah, those are there. They're not coming off. When I come back from New York, I might have to actually follow through with it. Otherwise, I just have 75 sticky notes on my wall for no reason. But that's definitely something that I want to do, in the next 6 months. And I feel like it will completely transform who I am. I also want to say, going off of that there is this quote that really sticks out to me. And basically it says that nothing changes if nothing changes. And although that may be obvious, you may have heard that before, I really feel like it's something that I want to have like imprinted in my brain, because I feel like a lot of us have the habit of wanting an ideal lifestyle and wanting to be like the people we see online and wanting to be like this highest version of ourselves, but we don't do the things daily to actually be there. We're not necessarily acting as that person would be acting if you were in that position, which is kind of why I feel like I need to remind myself, like, if I want change, I have to change who I am. If what I'm doing right now is not producing the results that I want, I need to change, and it's okay to change. And change is uncomfortable and it is scary and it is hard, but you have to want your goals more than the life that you're living right now. Okay, now that we've talked about our goals, what the past 6 months have looked like, what we want our next 6 months to look like, the reflection, the change in priorities, the even just considering how we currently feel. The next thing I'm going to do is get the ball rolling. That means I'm going to book the stuff I need to book. I'm going to order the stuff I need to order. I'm going to make plans for the things that I need. And lastly, I'm going to cancel the plans to make space for the new plans. This is what I like to do to get the action going and to actually put forward this dream lifestyle and dream life that I want to live and like actually get it in motion. So what do I mean by this? For me, this might be therapy. I might just need therapy, okay? Or maybe it's even getting a haircut to get rid of the past 6 months and to kind of feel more put together, which actually I just did get a haircut last week. It might be getting my toes done and my nails done, which, side note, I actually did get today, so I'm already feeling a little bit better. It might be booking a tan if that's what I need to feel better. Something else that I actually do need to book is like a doctor's appointment, a dentist appointment, a naturopath, a dermatologist. Like, I just need to get my health in check. For me personally, that is kind of like my priorities. Maybe that's booking workout classes, booking a facialist, booking, I don't know, any vacations that I need to book up in the future. Maybe for you, if you have like a schedule, maybe it's booking off time for, I don't know, your own relaxations or your own trips coming up, but just overall booking the things you want to get booked and kind of forcing yourself through a glow up. Once you book all these things, you can put it into your calendar and truly organize your calendar for the next 6 months and have a little bit more structure in your life and feel like all those maintenance things that you want to get done are already accomplished. The next thing that I want to do is order things. Obviously, you do not have to do this if you don't want to. If you already have the things you need, then you do not need to buy stuff again. But for me, there are some missing things that I wanted to buy that would make me feel better. I literally just ordered today some like teeth whitening strips. For me personally, my order list is more looking like furniture. I need to get furniture in since I've just moved and kind of stop putting that off. For me, this may also be ordering any clothes that I need for upcoming events, for upcoming parties, for upcoming trips, for upcoming, I don't know, things that I'm doing, just any of those things. Step 3 is to make plans. I know that summer is right around the corner. I know that summer is going to end right around the corner, and if I don't make the last plans that I want to, I'm not going to have the summer that I wanted to by the end of it, if that makes sense. So I know for myself, I have a few cabin trips coming up that I'm really excited about. I want to make sure that it's all planned, everything is booked. I make plans with the people that I haven't seen yet this summer, and I also make plans for like work things that I'm doing. I don't know, just a lot of planning, a lot of scheming. I swear my calendar is actually filled up until like the middle of October right now, and I'm honestly not mad about it either because it gives me something to look forward to, and it also gives me more structure and more kind of like a little fire under my butt to kind of get my shit together because I have things coming up. And also on that note, sometimes just actually making the plan, even if you don't feel like you're ready for whatever it is, will actually just make the plan happen rather than continuously putting it off, because that's something I tend to do and I procrastinate things. So as long as it's booked and it's in my calendar, I just know that I have no way out of it. I have to do it and it's going to get done. And then the last kind of step in this little list is to cancel things. I don't know about you guys, but as a chronic people pleaser, it is very often that I overbook myself or I say yes to too many things. And I feel like the older that I get, I've learned that I do need to prioritize myself at the end of the day. And sometimes doing something just because it's fun is not necessarily worth it if it causes me to miss out on a bunch of other things that are really important to me. Or, you know, maybe canceling that one night out is going to prevent me from feeling sluggish the next day after that, being late on all my things. I just feel like I can't afford anymore to just have like a fun night and it ruin the rest of the week for me. So for me, definitely, I'm going to cancel any plans or parties or trips that do not align with me, that do not align with the goals I have for myself, and that don't necessarily serve me or align with who I am right now and the goals that I have right now. Other than that, I feel like for the next 6 months, the things that I need to do is kind of get my apartment in check and do a deep clean of my apartment and get rid of clothes that I don't want and make space for, you know, potentially there might be new things coming in, but just get rid of the old and kind of feel this new leaf turning. Some other things you can do, especially in your environment, other than cleaning your space and making sure that all the stuff you don't want is taken out, is maybe buying some flowers or a candle for yourself, or maybe some room spray or like new sheets, something to get you excited about your routines again. Maybe that even might be getting like an espresso, that's kind of expensive, but like a coffee maker, or maybe new tea, or maybe a new skincare product, something that is going to make your routines a lot easier and just make you feel like you're in flow again. I know for myself, a book that I'm really going to read and prioritize in the next 6 months is Atomic Habits. I did read it like 3 years ago, and low-key, that was like when my habits were so in check. So I think I definitely need to read that to get myself inspired and to get myself motivated for the next 6 months and just to kind of remember what it takes and how to make these habits actually happen. Anyways, I'm going to end off the podcast here. If you guys want to see me do these things actually in video, I would would love to make a YouTube video for this, or just kind of show you guys what my new routine is for the next 6 months. I'm definitely going to do a little life rebrand, and again, side note, personal news, but I hired an assistant and I feel like I've gotten my team so much more under control. I'm basically all moved in, just got some furniture to buy, a few more summer plans here and there, but I'm so excited to feel this new leaf come over me and to just embrace the new me and not dwell on the fact that I'm not the same as I was 6 months ago, and actually be excited for the change, be excited for the responsibility, and be excited for all of the great things that are going to come now that we are preparing and setting ourselves up for success for the next 6 months. Anyways, I love you guys. I hope you had a great 6 months, and I hope that you're excited for the next months to come. I believe in you. We are going to accomplish so much. And if there's any other podcast episodes that you want to see from me, or anything you want me to talk about, or any topics you want to hear, definitely let me know, because I'm feeling inspired, I'm feeling good, and there will be very consistent episodes coming up. Again, I don't want to keep apologizing because I feel like I'm over apologizing, and it's actually just embarrassing now, but I really am going to get back into a consistent schedule, and I'm very, very, very excited to do that. I feel creatively in tune, and yeah, I'm excited. I love you guys, and definitely check up on my socials. I will be in New York. I will be at the cabin with my boyfriend next week, and I feel like I'll just have a lot of fun content coming up. So definitely stay in touch. I love you. Please DM me how your past 6 months went and what you're excited for in the next 6 months, and I will reply to you. And yeah, I'll see you guys soon. I love you.